It's time for another Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and this time around, we're talking about a guy who admittedly is a friend of mine, but I wanted to do a podcast with him because he is so involved in many different organizations. I don't think I know of anyone else who is involved in so many different nonprofit organizations as Wade Sheeler. He is not only president of the Newton Rotary Club, but he's been nominated to be Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge of the entire state of Iowa. He's heavily involved in the First United Methodist Church and many other organizations, and we'll be talking about that in just a couple of moments. Most people say, I just don't have the time to be involved, and a lot of people don't have the time. They have different obligations and family and business and other things, and one thing that's, I think, helping Wade in that regard is that he's retiring from Grinnell Mutual here pretty soon. But he's been involved in things throughout the years. He's made many friends, and he has very huge memories from making those friendships and those experiences that he's having. He'll talk about that in this podcast upcoming. But first of all, let's hear a word from our sponsors, including Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue in Newton. At Ryan's Tire and Auto, they take pride in delivering more than just tires and vehicle maintenance. They provide an unwavering commitment to great service, and every time that I go into Ryan's Tire and Auto, they greet you with a smile. They're happy to see you. And let me tell you, they've serviced my Hyundai Elantra many times over the summer, and I'm so glad that they've been there because I work part-time at WHO Radio in Des Moines, and many times this summer I've driven through rain. They've replaced my windshield wipers, and of course we've had a hot summer, and the blower motor went out several weeks ago before it started getting hot, and I needed that blower motor fixed big time before it started getting hot, and they took care of it and did a great job, and it's kept me nice and cool on my rides from Des Moines back to Newton when we've seen those feels like temperatures into the 100 degrees. So thank you to Ryan's Tire and Auto. Plus, they did a great oil change for me here earlier, too. If you need tires serviced, if you need new brakes put on or an oil change or windshield wipers or a blower motor put on for your air conditioner or a heater, check out Ryan's Tire and Auto on First Avenue, Newton. They'll do a great job for you. Also, Newton Clinic, they have a new provider there, Kinsey Heiser. They're excited to introduce her to you. Check her out. She's taking new patients. And also, preventative care is one of the best ways to protect your long-term health. And the Newton Clinic would like you to stop on in for annual exams, screenings, and checkups that'll help you catch small issues before they become big ones. Call or text Newton Clinic at 641-792-2112 to schedule your visit at Newton Clinic today. Check out their Facebook page and stay ahead with preventative care. Schedule your annual exam at Newton Clinic today. It's also sponsored by your friends at Advantage Credit Union.
Good grades bring accolades. It's report card time again, and Advantage Credit Union is ready to reward your student for their scholastic efforts. Students K through 8 can earn up to $20 per semester by bringing their report card into Advantage Credit Union. We have a PhD in report card history and financial mathematics, so we'll reward your student for doing well in school. Simply be a member of Advantage Credit Union or open up an account for your child or grandchild with a $25 deposit, and we'll take care of the rest.
See Credit Union for details. Member NCUA.
It's time for an Out and About with Jamie Grout podcast, and rarely do we do podcasts about individuals, but this guy is a friend of mine. He's a very big-hearted person. He's a very humble person, and he's a very involved person with different organizations. And I twisted his arm a little bit to do this podcast, and his name is Wade Sheeler. And when I posted on Facebook about our past Rotary president, Lonnie Portner, turning the gavel over to him as president, a lot of people liked the post because a lot of people like this gentleman. And I'm not offering him up to get the Nobel Peace Prize or anything like that, but he's a great guy. And again, he's very community involved. And I'm just going to mention just real quick that he's the new Rotary president, and I don't think I'm going out of bounds here. He has been nominated to become Grand Master of the Masonic Lodge of the state of Iowa this coming year. He's heavily involved in the First United Methodist Church. And I wanted to do this podcast with Wade Sheeler because, as I told him before we started recording, He is the exception rather than the rule. Wade, I don't want to blather on and on about myself because this podcast is about you. But when I became Rotary president, they twisted my arm to the point where they almost twisted it off for me to become president. I think Lonnie Portner would not deny that it was kind of the same situation with him. It is hard to get people to be involved in stuff. Big question. We're going to start off with a $64,000 question and bring the microphone right up to you. How come you volunteered to get involved in so many things?
Well, I think the biggest or best answer I have to that is, we've got to give back to our communities. I've been involved in a lot of different organizations throughout the years, both professionally and community-based. And I've met a lot of good people, a lot of good memories, and hopefully I've made a difference.
Well, I'm sure you have. Now, let's talk about Masonry. I went into the Masonic Lodge. It would have been 1980, 81 in Beatrice, Nebraska. That was my first job out of broadcasting school. I'd been in radio. I started in high school, radio station in Knoxville. Then I went to station in Pella, and I really wasn't learning anything, so I went to broadcasting school. Then they placed me in Beatrice, and I started asking my dad about his Masonic ring one day. Come to find out, the owner of the radio station was a Mason. It took me 6 months to go from entered apprentice to fellowcraft to become a master Mason. And to become a Mason, there was a lot of memorization, and people don't realize what it's all about. Now, it is to become a Mason, it is a male organization, but there's a female organization called Eastern Star, and my mom was Grand Worthy Matron of Eastern Star over in Missouri Valley. My grandfather, my mom's dad, was a Mason. My uncle on my dad's side was a Mason. My dad was a Mason, so it runs in our family. But people have no idea about the memory work that is involved in this, Wade. It takes a lot of time to do what you do.
I've made, pretty sizable commitment of my time, but it's not only Masonry. I've done a lot of things, and I've done, a lot of different organizations. I've done a lot of things professionally with professional organizations, and so been busy over the years.
And you're not only involved in Masonry, but you're involved in the different offshoots of Masonry too.
Mm-hmm, mm-hmm.
Tell us about
okay,
those.
so Masonry has two offshoots, the York Rite and the Scottish Rite. I've headed up on a state level all three of the Grand York Rite bodies in the state of Iowa. I've also belonged to the Des Moines Scottish Rite, where I was what we call Master of Gadash, and received my 33rd degree. I'm a Shriner and active in the Shrine. Shrine is a wonderful organization, provides a lot of very much needed assistance to kids and their families, and so I'm very proud to be a Shriner.
So what is it? Because I guess I went into Scottish Rite years ago, which that makes me like a 32nd degree
32nd degree Mason.
What makes you a 33rd degree Mason?
Well, the 33rd degree Mason is you have to be elected to receive that honor, and then it is approved by the Supreme Council, which sits in Washington, D.C., and I became a 33rd degree Mason 8 years ago, and I actually went to D.C. and received my degree. And when you receive your 33rd degree in Washington, D.C., you have the opportunity to sign the Gold Book. And one of the pages that they showed me was Harry Truman's signature, and then 2 lines down from that was J.C. Penney. So,
oh wow,
those are just my name is in the same book as the names of those 2 gentlemen.
What makes you so passionate about Masonry, Wade?
Well, I have a lot of good memories, a lot of good friends over the years that I've met, and a lot of friends that are no longer here, but I still remember them. So,
Okay, great. I don't know whether I was the one that asked you to be on the board for Rotary or not, or it was someone else?
Yeah, I'm on the board for the Newton Rotary, currently serving as president. I serve on the downtown building grant renewal committee for the city of Newton, and so we meet once a month to look at some of the grant proposals that are submitted to us for renovations on the exterior buildings. Been very involved in the Methodist Church. Some other things I've done. At one time, I was a volunteer for Big Brothers, Little Brothers. Professionally, I've done a lot of things. In the insurance business, there's a designation called the Charter Property Casualty Underwriter, which is very, very similar to being a CPA in the finance area. But I'm a past president of Iowa Chapter CPCU. I've done a lot of teaching at insurance classes over the years. I've taught at Drake, Grandview, Buena Vista, the University of Iowa. I've served as a national governor for the CPCU Society and also on the board of directors of the national or international organization, which is about 30,000 members. Went through Leadership Iowa, through the Association of Industry and Business, so I've been involved with that. So,
Well, I first met you here in Newton when we were I can't say the United Way board.
I was on the allocations committee.
The allocations committee, which is a very important committee, which decides how the money is allocated to the various nonprofits that have asked for money from the United Way, because it has to be divvied up through the various proposals, which is a hard job. There's a lot of trees that get cut down. I remember the book that we had to go through for that.
Yes, I've served on the allocations committee a couple times, and now I'm on the United Way board, and it just always amazes me of the needs that are out in the community, and also, how we as a community step forward and help to meet those needs.
So I have to ask, because being in all these different organizations and being involved, I know as past Rotary president and being involved in some of these organizations and trying to get a festival started in Newton. I don't know if you ever heard about this, but the Humidity Festival and the frustrations that I went through trying to get people involved in different things. Does that ever kind of make you feel, why do I even try?
Yeah, it's hard to get people involved, and you just can't be frustrated. You have to have the end goal in sight and keep working towards that goal.
What is it you like about Rotary?
I think the thing that Rotary does, here locally, we've done some good community projects over the years, but also, I'm just very impressed with what Rotary does in the United States as well as around the world. Our service projects for water quality, the fight to end polio. Rotary is just a really neat organization, and hope to be involved in that for a long time.
I used to belong to that evil Kiwanis Club back in the day when I lived in Waterloo. And it was very interesting. They had a sociologist come speak to us. And back, in the 40s and 50s, people belonged to more organizations at that time. But he showed us a graph starting about the early 1960s, 63, 64. People stopped joining things. And you know why? Take a guess.
Probably they thought they had time commitments.
The time commitment was television.
Mm-hmm.
People would rather stay at home and watch TV than belong to various organizations.
That's right. There was a very famous book actually written called Bowling Alone that looked at those very same issues.
Wade, for Masonry and maybe for Rotary and even for the Methodist Church, do you have any goals in mind? Are there things that you would like to see come about? I know that we just saw a presentation from Fred Chabot at Rotary about the dome and how the money was raised for that and how that's been completed and whatnot. But I know both Masonry and Rotary Club need members to keep going, keep thriving.
Well, I think people need to realize that they need to be of service to their fellow human beings. And we are social animals. We need to get out and interact with one another. And always just being at home, in front of the TV or playing on our computers, lots of times that isn't always the answer to some of the things that we're seeking in life.
So you're retiring pretty soon.
I'm retiring in about 6 weeks.
And what all did you do at Grinnell Mutual?
I've done a lot of things over my 32 years there. I started out in the auditing department, then I went to marketing services. I was in our research and development department. We had a small life company. I was the underwriting director for that. Then I left for about 3 years. I was with a company in Des Moines, came back, ended up in training and development, which I really liked. I went out and trained agents, trained our employees on various insurance products. And then the last 8 years, I've been back in research and development.
So what is coming up for the Masonic Lodge? I know that the Newton Lodge has some kind of feed coming up here real soon.
Well, we just did a corn feed for the Books for Bikes program.
Oh, that's happened already.
That's happened last Friday night. We've also been working with Open Arms Foundation, which is a good organization here in town to help disadvantaged children. And so that's been a good organization to be partnered with.
And you have a pancake feed every month?
We have a pancake feed every month.
Yeah, that's true. And the funds you raise for this go to various projects. You recently gave away some bicycles to kids at Emerson F. Elementary.
Well, we actually give away all 4 of the elementary schools in Newton, and we had 24 bicycles that we give away.
That's fantastic.
Encouraging kids to read.
Yeah. People I don't think, hear enough about the good works that the Masonic Lodge does, and so I think we need to spread the word about it.
I think all of our organizations, Rotary does some good things around town. Right now we're trying to raise, or asking our members to donate school supplies for kids that maybe don't have money to purchase school supplies, and so hopefully that'll make a difference.
And the United Way also, and you're on the board for the United Way too.
Right.
And now, is fundraising going on for the United Way, or is that over with, or is that coming up?
We just had the golf tournament here 2 or 3 weeks ago. The fall campaign, I think, kicks off roughly around the 1st of October. So we're getting ready to gear up for fundraising efforts.
So again, and maybe we're circling back to what we talked about earlier, but again, tell us about the joy you have as far as being involved in all these various organizations that you're associated with, Wade.
Well, I think the best way to sum it up is a quote that I once read from Muhammad Ali. And Muhammad Ali said, "Service is the rent we pay for our life on earth." And so I think we all have an obligation to give back to society.
Well, if you want to know about a guy who's involved, and I know that he's mentioned other people too, and I think he thinks that I'm, putting him high up on a pedestal that he doesn't deserve, but he's a good friend. Hey, he took me to a cataract surgery, and I appreciate him for doing that. And he also, I'd had a seizure, 2 or 3 years ago, and it was due to dehydration, and I couldn't drive for 6 months, and he offered to drive me to some places, and I didn't need to use his chauffeurness, I guess, if that's the word for it. But he's just a good man. He's a big-hearted guy, and he's a dear friend. But not only that, he's a guy who's volunteered his services for a lot of different organizations. And his name is Wade Sheeler. And check out the video that we're going to do here in just a couple of moments, and follow his lead and get involved if you possibly can, and if you have the time for it. That's going to wrap it up for this edition of Out and About with Jamie Grout. This podcast also sponsored by Lynette Baker, Halo Branded Solutions. Jersey Freeze in Monroe. Stop on by and say hi to Lynn Donahue and his crew at Jersey Freeze in Monroe, home of the Van and Bon Bon Freezer, named after the legendary morning show on WHO, Van and Bonnie, and also Westside Java Coffee Company. Until next time, grrr, out is out. See ya.